Harry Kane has not reported for training at Hotspur Way this morning as he was expected to return following a short holiday in what, for me, is a somewhat surprising turn of events with regards to the situation with Harry Kane. Now, of course, this is to try and force a move through to Manchester City. Today I'll talk about why he's doing this and why it's not really going to work with the reports we've gotten over the last couple of days unless Manchester City drop their pursuit of Aston Villa and England winger Jack Grealish. Look, I wasn't expecting this. I've seen a fairly mixed reaction on Twitter. Some people expecting it, and some people most definitely not. But it's not good for Spurs. Whether you expect it or not, this is very bad for us. And Harry Kane was the player that we all thought was going to be the one to knock down tools and to be professional if he did. If he didn't get that move to Manchester City to play for Spurs this season, to be at his best and to continue to be a fantastic goal scorer for us. But this suggests perhaps we could have been wrong on that one. As Aaron there says in the live chat, not good. Stephen Smith says, love him, but if he does this, let him go. Better to rebuild now than next season and be another season behind. But like Modric, leaves a sour taste. Be like Bale and get his top dollar, still a legend. Look, I personally don't know how I feel about this. Because yes, I think Harry Kane deserves a move away. He's not entitled to it because he signed that 6-year contract 3 years ago. There are 3 years left on that. That is his fault. We're Spurs, from Spurs' point of view, they have him on a 3-year contract. He's at the best prime, at the best time for his career. We don't have to let him go. The club do not have to sell him. It is within Tottenham's it's within Tottenham's power right now what happens with this deal. Look, let's just go through what's happening. I saw a lot of people saying this morning, that the coverage from Sky Sports and things like that about Harry Kane being expected to return to training this morning was absolutely bizarre. And I agreed with that. I mean, a player going to training should not be very big news. But the fact now that he hasn't shown up, this is absolutely massive news. And it was Sky Sports, Paul Gilmore, who of course is the Tottenham correspondent and spends quite a bit of time down in Hotspur Way, was the first to break this news. And he said, just understand that Harry Kane has not shown up for training as was expected. He was given a short holiday following the conclusion of the Euros. He was given that short holiday. He was due back at Hotspur Way today, Monday the 2nd of August, and he has not arrived. Now, Fabrizio Romano also had his say in this one, and let's get the exact tweet from him just to be sure that we're getting the correct information. Romano said, confirmed, Harry Kane has not shown up for Tottenham training, as Sky Sports' Paul Gilmore revealed. Been told it's Harry Kane's choice and not related to COVID. Kane is assuming that he has a gentleman's agreement with the club since last year to leave Spurs this summer. So it is entirely Harry Kane's decision. It's not COVID related. There's no injury there. It is his decision. I see a few comments there asking, wasn't he meant to be back late? Josh said it there. Today was him being back late. The reason he was going to be apparently missing that game against Manchester City in the opening day of the season is because 2 weeks of pre-season training isn't really enough to get to peak match fitness. So it was always today that he was expected back from training. Oscar there says this is very disrespectful from Harry Kane, and I agree. I do agree. Like I said, I think he deserves his move, but he is not entitled to it. It's not just because he wants to move doesn't mean he has to get it. He can do what he wants to try and get it, but this is certainly not good. Alistair Gold has also chimed in on it, and Alistair Gold has also said that Harry Kane has not shown up to training. He says Harry Kane has not arrived back at Hotspur Way on Monday, as expected by Tottenham. The England captain was set to return to the club on Monday morning to undertake his first COVID test and do blood work ahead of the pre-season campaign. However, Kane has not arrived at the Enfield-based training complex. Other players such as Giovanni Lo Celso and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg have already returned to Hotspur Way following their exertions at the Copa America and Euros respectively. So those two players have returned earlier than expected. Kane has been linked with a move to Manchester City this summer, but Tottenham have dug their heels in and are expected to do so even more now. So Harry Kane's absence of training is going to make Daniel Levy even more stubborn, which I think Harry Kane should have expected, to be honest. But this isn't good, whatever way you look at it. And I said at the beginning there, this isn't going to make a difference for Harry Kane's future or where he might end up, because Manchester City have made an offer for Jack Grealish. Man City have offered £100 million for Jack Grealish, and Aston Villa are expected to accept that offer. If that deal goes through, which at the moment it's looking likely that it will, there is no way, financially it is almost impossible for Manchester City to buy Jack Grealish and Harry Kane. And that is just the facts of the matter. Manchester Evening News, I think, said it first yesterday. And there's quite a few reports yesterday that were saying he anything that does happen with Jack Grealish would financially eradicate the possibility of um of them getting Harry Kane, and you can understand that. I mean, it makes sense. So why is Kane now being so stubborn and trying to get this to happen when it's almost impossible for it to happen? Again, financially, Man City, they're not a team who typically spend a lot of money on one player. Their record signings have quite a few in between maybe the 15, 70 million pound mark, but they rarely go higher than that. In fact, they've never gone higher than that. Ruben Diaz last summer at I think maybe 68 or 72 million pounds is their record signing. So for them to go for one player at this price is huge, but to go for two, it's massive, and it's probably just not possible. It really isn't, and perhaps Harry Kane is thinking, if he does this now, if he really tries to force this through, it could tempt Man City to drop their pursuit of Jack Grealish and solely focus on bringing Harry Kane in. Maybe that's what he's thinking, because it was never expected to get to this level, and with Harry Kane, he essentially said it would never get to this level. What we heard from the very beginning was that he wants this move, he wants to go to Manchester City, but he's not in a rush. And I think he said that himself in that interview with Gary Neville, that he's not in a rush. He doesn't absolutely want to leave now, but he does want to play with Manchester City at some point. And look, I think personally we thought that maybe we could get another year out of him. But I'm actually struggling to kind of figure out how this is going to pan out now, because I was always so confident that it would happen. Kirsty there saying apparently Kane needs a negative COVID test, so is likely to return tomorrow. I think Kirsty was going back today to Hotspur Way to get that COVID test. I think that is why he was expected there. And I'm taking a look here at Twitter to see if there's any more updates in this. Graham Roberts is saying he's having a COVID test. You total idiots. From the things that have been read, the COVID test is supposed to be happening at Hotspur Way. He has to get one from the club, which every player and every manager has had to do. I'm sure we all remember Nuno Espirito Santo turning up for his first day at the club, and it was just for a COVID test, and he took training the next day or the day after. So I do think that COVID test is at Hotspur Way, which is why he was due back there today. Yassine says the club can fine him, and I do think Tottenham will take action against this. I've seen a few Manchester City fans kind of tweeting about this and saying we're going to get some sort of explanation later, and we'll really be able to gauge the severity of the situation, or the exactly what is going on in the situation when that explanation comes out, because it'll either make sense or it'll be total and utter crap, and that's when we'll know for sure just how serious this is, or just how this is going to pan out. Sky Sports Paul Gilmore says we've seen a lot of the first team players go in this morning, and Harry Kane was not amongst them. We've had it confirmed that Kane has not shown up, so more and more things filtering through confirming that Harry Kane has not arrived at training this morning. Martin says City won't buy Grealish and Kane, but Kane is not worth some of the figures that comments are throwing up. He's injury prone and 29. He's worth 90 million max, 90 million plus Laporte, and Jesus is unrealistic. I think the best way I can describe this, and I do think to some extent you are right, Martin, but Harry Kane is worth more to Tottenham than he is to any other club. To us, he is worth 160 million pounds, because he is the difference between, with the way our squad is at the moment, he's the difference between the opportunity of getting into Champions League or Europa League football and stumbling into mid-table mediocrity. He is the difference for us between those things. So for me, he is worth 160 million pounds to Tottenham, but I don't think he is worth that to other teams, which is why I've said that I just don't think Manchester City will pay that, regardless of whatever is happening with Jack Grealish. If they completely drop that Jack Grealish pursuit right now, I still don't think they pay 160 million pounds for Harry Kane, because to them he is not worth that. They are not in need of a striker that much, but Tottenham unequivocally are. We absolutely are. We need him, and 160 million pounds. If we get that for him, I still don't think we're in a good enough position to replace him and actually get something that can step in and get the goals and assists that he had, because there are no strikers out there who will guarantee that. Like, we could talk about Dusan Vlahovic and his 21 goals in the Serie A last season. We could talk about Lautaro Martinez, another player who we're apparently interested in bringing in to replace Harry Kane if he does move on, but they're not going to replace Kane. We need at least two players in that, a playmaker and a goal scorer, because Harry Kane was both of those things last year. So to us, he's worth 160 million pounds, maybe even more. But I agree with you, Martin, that to other clubs, it is probably a bit of a stretch to say that he is worth that much. Niall says this is not a story. Could be a million reasons Kane is not at training. There could be a million reasons, but what the stories are saying and what Fabrizio Romano has said is that it is Harry Kane's choice. It's nothing to do with the COVID test. He's supposed to be having that at training this morning. But again, just to reiterate what Romano said, Harry Kane has not shown up for Tottenham training, as Paul Gilmore revealed. Been told it's Harry Kane's choice and not related to a COVID test. So this is Harry Kane's decision to not show up for training this morning. And again, something that I personally was not expecting. Bobby with the £5, thank you so much, Bobby, says Rooney and Gerrard had statements when they wanted to leave their clubs. Why can't Kane? We're in the middle of a rebuild. We need clarity, surely. I just don't think something like that would be accepted in the modern day game, Bobby. Personally, first of all, thank you very much for the super chat. I do appreciate it, but so much has changed in the game in the last 10, 15, 20 years, however long it's been since their respective departures. I just think the game is so different now, and social media is a big part of that. You know what's going to happen to Harry Kane if he makes a statement and says that he wants to leave. The abuse from Tottenham fans is going to be absolutely huge, and I just don't think that is the way the game is going at the moment. I think there has been kind of a shift in what is important, and he did an interview where he kind of half said he wanted to go and half said he wanted to play with City, and kind of eased his way through it, and we know the reaction that was to that, and here we are, and he's not showing up to training, and already the reaction is even worse to that. So I agree we do need clarity, but I feel for that reason, and also it's just still not likely that Harry Kane will be allowed to leave Tottenham. So if he comes out and makes a statement, says I want to leave, I want to play in a better team, or I want a team who can challenge for trophies, it's going to be a little bit awkward when he's in that team next season, because again, I just don't think it's likely that he will be allowed to leave. That's just my take. But of course I'm often wrong. So let's see. Sam says, I hate the narrative when people say he deserves trophies. He's played 4 finals and ghosted every single one. Look, it's true that he's not been the best player for us in cup finals. But he's definitely been the best player for us in every other game. Paul Russell says, I hope this does not drag on until the end of August. I think that is what Levy would want, so he does not have to spend the money. Excuse me, Brian, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for the few others, Jack, Shadow, Bailey, and Nola Scum as well for subscribing. I do appreciate it. Yeah, this dragging on to the end of August is the worst possible thing for Spurs right now. It is absolutely the worst thing that could happen for us, and because if we do end up getting a replacement then for Harry Kane at the end of August, we're 2-3 weeks into the season. It takes a long time for him to get settled into the team. This, that, all the usual stuff with Tottenham signings, because we usually do wait until the end of August to actually get those signings in. But also, it's going to be a little more difficult to it's going to be a little bit more difficult to actually get deals done for other players then, because they know any striker in the world is going to be, their price is almost going to be doubled if they're I'm actually reading Spurs Express here. It's been said here, any striker in the world, your price is going to be doubled if Tottenham are trying to replace Harry Kane with him, because you know they're going to have the money, and you're going to know how much they need to actually bring him in. And there is a bit of news here from the Spurs Express via Dan Kilpatrick via the Spurs Express. So Dan Kilpatrick of the Evening Standard, a very, very reliable Tottenham source, says Spurs are closing in on agreeing a fee with Atalanta thought to be around £47 million for Argentine centre half Christian Romero. Take a second to realise the timing on this one. We haven't had from any reliable, properly good English source that this deal could happen for Christian Romero. Harry Kane 45 minutes ago did not turn up for training, and all of a sudden Dan Kilpatrick is telling us that we're close to agreeing a fee with Christian Romero for Atalanta. I don't like the timing on that one. That's very suspect to me, and makes me a little bit more concerned about the current Harry Kane situation. So one to keep an eye on there. If we start getting it from all English sources in the next couple of hours that we're close to agreeing a deal with Christian Romero, that is going to be one of big concern for us, because it's just trying to soften the blow of some bad news with a little bit of good news. But look, Harry Kane not showing up for training. Personal opinion, I didn't expect this. I really, really did not expect Harry Kane to do this. I think 95% of Spurs fans were in the same boat as me, as when we said he's going to be professional. He's going to be the type of player who will still show up and bag his hat-trick against Brentford, and then go out and get one against Man City and be that incredible player for us again this season. But it's looking like we were all wrong, because I don't think any of us would have expected Harry Kane to avoid training like this. and it doesn't bode well for the month that's coming up, with of course the month left in the transfer window. And he's not going to be playing against Manchester City. I think if that was in a bit of doubt before today, it's certainly not in doubt now. Then I have to beg the question: when's he going to actually come back into the team? If we hold on to him, that means we don't have the money to buy a striker. It means we're not going to get a replacement for him. Could we end up in a situation where Harry Kane refuses to play until after deadline day? So for the first month of the season, we don't have a recognised striker. Could it be Heung-min Son up top? Could it be Dane Scarlett? That's a bit of a concern there. That's a concern even if we keep Harry Kane. And then when the season does begin properly, what happens then? Does Harry Kane actually play for us? Does he try? Does he down tools? Does he do with Christian Eriksen? There's just a lot of stuff to a lot of questions to be answered within all this, and it's going to be quite a while before we actually do get those answers. But the main thing to take from this today is very, very concerning that Harry Kane is not turned up for training. This could be the beginning of him properly downing tools and properly trying to get this move to Manchester City, as we had been told he wouldn't. But it looks like this is going to happen. Do make sure to hit that like button if you're as frustrated with this as I am. There's 750 people watching and only 85 likes, so please let's get that up to 150 as quickly as we can. Do hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. We're on the road to 11k. We're very, very close to that, which to be honest I wasn't expecting at any point this season. But please do hit that subscribe button if you are new. And I'm just going to check something real quick here. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, please hit that subscribe button. Please like if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat and in the comments on Harry Kane not showing up to training this morning and where you think this saga will now go. Daniel Ham with the super chat, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Daniel. The £5 says, if Kane stays and isn't happy, does him being in the squad ruin the morale of the other players and affect what we tried to do with the rebuild? Do you know what, Daniel? That's a really good point, and I'm very glad you brought that up, because I think I said this quite a bit about United over the last couple of years with Paul Pogba, because what they were trying to do with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think they tried to do it a bit with their previous managers as well, was to kind of start this rebuild. But what I felt they needed to do initially was rip that squad apart, take out the bad eggs that were in that dressing room, and they have done that with some of them. But I thought Paul Pogba was one of the biggest ones, because he famously downs tools and just goes missing, and the Mino Raiola says something in the press. I felt they needed to get rid of that in order to have a good atmosphere and kind of build the new squad on a good platform. Do Spurs now have to do the same with Harry Kane? Excuse me. Do Spurs now have to do the same with Harry Kane? Do we have to get rid of him to try and fix all this? I don't know. It really... we really do need a lot of questions to be answered. Again, it'll be quite a while before we do get that. But Daniel, thank you for the super chat, and thank you for bringing up that very good point as well. But look, we will leave it there. Like I said, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new, and as always, thanks for watching.